Today we're going to be tying a marabou tarpon fly. It's been especially popular for clients who are going down to Campeche or any of the other Yucatan Peninsula spots. Starting off today with the SC17 Gamakatsu tarpon hook. We've got some U140 in fluorescent orange. We'll start the thread right behind the eye. Make a nice base wrap. All the way back to just past the barb on this hook. The hook will kind of start to slope down. That's your cue to stop the thread. First thing we're going to do is we're going to take a yellow blood quill. A lot of times, like the spay guys in the Northwest aren't going to like that real heavy-duty stem in the feather. It actually works out really well for this. It helps stiffen it up quite a bit. So instead of throwing those feathers away, guys, save them for your tarpon flies for the next trip. I'm going to measure a tail. Want about 1.5 to 2 inches of that yellow marabou. Not going to measure it or anything like that, but you know, kind of a feeling when you tie it in about the right spot. So one of the things I like to do with this is to pick that up, the tail up, and make a couple wraps around it, kind of like a parachute style maneuver. Helps stiffen it up just a little bit more, and that way when you're casting it's not going to flip over on you. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to use these awesome Euro hackle tips. Yeah, these are long feathers for the application maybe, but they look killer on here. It just gives it a really a lot more shrimpy extra. So I'm going to have the glossy side of the feather facing towards the hook shank. I'm going to measure those tips out to be approximately even. This one feather's not cooperating all that much, but that's alright. It gets wet, it will. So we want one of those on each side. What I do is I just kind of take both of those feathers, get them into the position that I want, measured where they are, and I just take my fingers and I hold on to that thing for dear life. And then I'll make a couple soft wraps around the feathers. And then I'll pull it nice and tight. You can see how just a little bit of extra pull on there. Really anchor those things down so that they're not flopping around a whole bunch on you. There you go. The next thing I'm going to do is just snip off those stub ends. So we got a little bit of nice accent on both sides. Then I'm going to take a orange blood quill. I'm going to trim off a little bit of the excess undyed portion. I'm going to tie that in with the base of the feather first. So instead of wrapping it by the tip, you're going to wrap it in by the big thick section. And that way these thin stem feathers will work a little bit better for you. You definitely want one that's thin enough that you can wrap it around without too much problem. And then we're just going to wind this like a regular hackle. The only exception is that we want to make sure that we keep on moving that marabou out of the way as we wrap it, and that way it's not bunching on itself. Just keep that feather moving. We're going to use pretty much the whole feather, so just keep on moving around, making sure that those keep on spreading out and get really nice and plumey. It's going to give you a lot more action in the water. I'm getting down to where I can barely hold on to the feather anymore. I'll make a couple locking wraps on there, button it down. Slick that stuff just a little bit back, and then I'll make a couple wraps just to help confine it so that you get that nice cup shape. One of the final steps here is we're going to take one of the wide webby Euro hackles from the base of the saddle and prepare it by getting rid of the fluff. I don't want these fluffy tips on there necessarily, so I'll just kind of strip those out of the way, give myself a starting and stopping point. Don't need many wraps of this stuff, you know, 3 or 4 wraps or something like that. It's more than enough. So then I get the tip prepared. That's going to be my tie-in point. So you can see I've just kind of reversed the grizzly effect. I'm going to stick that right in front of that orange hackle, orange marabou. And I'm going to grab on my hackle pliers here. Same thing with this feather. We want to make sure that those tips are getting pointed back, so that you get that swept back, classic kind of tarpon style look. Couple wraps. Once that's locked down, just give it a little nip. Make sure it's locked down before you start moving. Give it a couple extra wraps just to be sure. I'll go back in, clip off that stem one more time. And I'll take the thread and I'll just kind of move it back. All those hackles swept back further. And then I'm just going to build up a nice little head here all the way up to the tip. Get it up to the front there. Whip finish that. I like to do a little double lock on, especially on saltwater flies, so you get a little bit more life out of them. And there you have a completed Yucatan Marabou Tarpon fly. It's one of my favorites. I hope it's one of yours too.